Last year, Samsung broke the mold of what a smartphone should look like with the original Samsung Fold. The initial release of the device in April brought around a few problems which Samsung took into their stride and re-released the phone in September last year. The new original Fold was a wonder to hold. I still sometimes open it with the amazement I did the first time I held it. That being said, let's call the original Samsung Fold what it was. A test project. It may have been a folding display with a whole lot of bells and whistles, but it wasn't something I could suggest to someone, that too at the cost of dirham 7,000. This month, Samsung brings us the Galaxy Fold2, a new and rethought folding smartphone with a whole lot new thanks to feedback taken from users and reviewers. It's much more premium, much more polished, and most importantly, a much more rigid smartphone. The new cam hinge on the Fold2 is an improved version of the cam hinge on the Galaxy Z Flip. When using the other Fold, you could feel a distinct difference between the two sides of the device, making it feel like two parts. This completely goes away on the Fold2. When opened or closed, the phone feels like one solid unit at all times. Like the Samsung Note 20 series announced earlier, the Fold2 comes in Mystic Bronze, the company's flagship color line. It also comes in Mystic Black, but if you do get your hands on the smartphone, go for the Mystic Bronze. Not only is the color great, but the back is also frosted glass, which keeps you from seeing fingerprint smudges, a trait not available on the black version. The new Samsung Galaxy Fold2 does have one drawback as far as its body is concerned, according to me. The older Fold felt smaller and nicer in the hand compared to this one. Thanks to its increased screen sizes, which we'll come to in a minute, the Fold2 definitely shows its heft, weighing a massive 282 grams in its new form factor. Another thing I wish the body on the new Fold didn't have is the camera bump. Matching the camera bump on the Note 20 Ultra, the rectangle does have quite a bulge on the body. One of the biggest gripes I had with the original Fold was its external display. It was a tiny 4.6-inch Super AMOLED with a 21:9 aspect ratio, which was barely usable, especially on the large form factor of the smartphone. With the Galaxy Fold2, the external display gets a big spec bump to a 6.2-inch Super AMOLED with a 25:9 aspect ratio. Now, typing still isn't the easiest on the keyboard, but general interaction is much better. Scroll through Instagram or check your emails with ease thanks to a much more legible and usable display. The main inner display on the Fold2 gets an even bigger spec bump. From a 7.3 dynamic AMOLED 60Hz soft plastic display, it jumps to a 7.6-inch dynamic AMOLED 2X adaptive 120Hz ultra-thin glass display. The display is beautiful to use. The 120Hz display makes gaming, video, and general interaction buttery smooth on the smartphone. It's unfortunate that both displays don't have a 120Hz refresh rate, but anything you want to do to enjoy the Fold experience, you want to do on a larger display. But given the Fold2's form factor, when open, you do see black bars when viewing typical 16:9 or 18:9 content, which takes away from the full experience. And yes, the crease is still visible on the main display. But I said this with the review of the first Fold, and I'll say it again. Unless you go looking for it, the crease pretty much disappears in daily use. The Samsung Galaxy Fold2 is an absolute powerhouse, as it should be considering its price. The Fold2 comes powered with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 Plus, 12 gigs of RAM and 256 GB of storage. Now, if you're a regular Samsung user, you know that in most cases, Samsung devices come with the brand's proprietary Exynos processors to our market, like the Samsung Note 20 series. So it's great to have the Snapdragon 865 Plus on the Fold2. Response during heavy usage is quick and multitasking is a piece of cake on the smartphone. Gaming too is amazing, especially if the game supports dynamic switching between the small screen and the big screen and vice versa, but unfortunately not all games do that. Definitely check out Vaibhav's in-depth gaming test to learn a bit more on that. We haven't had very long with the device, so all this could change, but a mix of the 865 Plus and Android 10 with a skin of One UI 2.5 should keep things running smooth in the long run. If there's one thing I wished in this category, it would be for a micro SD slot or at least 512 GB of storage. I'm not running out of 256 GB of storage anytime soon, but 512 GB would be reassuring considering gaming sizes and 4K video and such. Now, the cameras on the original Fold weren't anything to write home about. It did the job, but they weren't spectacular. The new Galaxy Fold 2 comes with 3 12-megapixel cameras, a wide, an ultra-wide, and a telephoto. You don't get any of that fancy space zoom from the S line, but they do a good job. The outer and inner displays come with the same 10-megapixel camera, which is okay for selfies and such, but is better intended for video calls. You can also use the main camera for selfies, which improves quality drastically, and overall the photos seem to be as good as the Note 10 Plus camera, but not quite the full flagship Note 20 Ultra experience. Even in its old iteration, the Fold was a great device to use daily. With the Fold 2, that just gets better. Of course, it's a large device, so it takes a bit of getting used to, but it doesn't take away from the functionality of the smartphone. In my daily use, videos, chats, and emails have been what I use the device for most. App optimizations are present, but not as evident thanks to the lack of the adoption from third-party apps. Thanks to the Fold 2's cam hinge allowing it to stand up like a laptop, Samsung has added optimizations for apps like the camera, YouTube, the calendar, and such, which allows a split-screen use that could be useful in some situations. One of the apps I was most happy to see optimized for the phone was Instagram. Instead of spreading all across the screen like Facebook or Twitter, the app allows you to use it in a sort of large 16:9 vertical aspect ratio when the phone is unfolded. Now, there isn't much to say about 5G usage as coverage isn't as widespread as I'd like it, but that being said, I did love having it on the device. You can definitely spot the reduced loading times on Instagram and lack of buffering on YouTube. Something I genuinely used this time on the Fold 2 was DeX. Connecting to an external display via Type-C cable or wirelessly and a Bluetooth keyboard gave me a whole new way to use the device. I attended to some work, wrote an email, and even watched a video all simultaneously, all through the power of the device. Thanks to the short time I had with the Samsung Fold 2, I can't comment on long-term battery life, but in my use, the phone lasted me the whole day, every day with ease, which I would say is pretty good considering it's got not one but two displays and 5G to manage with the 4500 mAh battery on board, which can charge both wired and wirelessly and even use it to wirelessly share to charge other accessories. Last year, it was impossible to recommend the Samsung Fold. It cost too much and had a lot of faults. This year, the Fold 2 comes into a much more confident spot where recommending it isn't difficult. It's your phone, your tablet, your book reader, your source of video content, and even your PC if you use DeX. At dirham 7599, it is an ultra luxury device for sure, but if you can afford it, you're definitely not wasting money on a gimmick. The phone will get relatively more affordable when Etisalat or Do announce their 12, 18 and 24-month installment plans on the phone, but currently it's on pre-order for dirham 7599 with a pair of Galaxy Buds Live worth dirhams 599 and 1 year of damage warranty free. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one.